Hello viewers, today for the initial checkout we have the AT&T 9050 900 MHz analog cordless telephone. And of course this does have the digital or digitan answering system. This is in the rare gold finish. I've seen a few listings over the years describe very yellowed phones as such, because I guess people just didn't know that it's not supposed to be like that. This was a trash find. This came from the same trash pile that those fax machines and a couple of other phones came from a few weeks ago, and that big box of junk, this I think was in that box. And this is an odd situation because it looks like the handset was never used, and there's a little bit of dirt on the bottom of it, but it's like it's unblemished. There's no wear in sight. And then you can see on the top it was like where the cord was wrapped around it. It's almost as if they put it back, they wrapped the cord around and then sat it in the sun or something for a decade or two. The answering machine has got, I think, over 40 messages on it, and it would seem like it's been plugged in for a while because the indicator LEDs have become very dim. Even with the lights off, well, they look perfectly bright on the camera, but in person they look very, very dim, and the screen is nearly unreadable in person with the lights on. I can see it now with the lights off, but with the lights on it's pretty much invisible. And I wish I had a spare battery I could throw in the battery compartment just so we could see what that light looked like, because that would give us a comparison. Well, since it's intriguing enough, I'm going to grab the battery out of the handset after all this time I spent trying to get it in there. It's very hard to open up. And I'm going to see if I can make this contact. This always confuses me because I'm so used to black being the high side, you know, on like residential wiring. But that's not the case here. The red is the high side. And if we just touch this on here, we should get that indicator to come on. And let's see here. It's still kind of dim. Okay, so there's not that much of a difference. I mean, it's slight. It is there, but it's not significant. Okay, so perhaps the indicator lights are just very dim on this thing. That could be. There could be. Now I gotta get this back on here. What I usually do is I just I find what side the hinge is on. So in this case it's connecting to the board up there. And then I just stick this in up there. And you gotta be careful not to push this beyond the contact, you know, because you don't want it to make contact with anything on the board. I don't know if there's any information in here. Nope, just a caution. Use battery 3470. We're not doing that. Oh no. Okay, so I don't know what the deal was with this phone. It's a mystery. Was this used alongside the other ones in the law office? There is messages on here. There's 43 of them. I recorded them into the camera. Like I put the camera on top of the speaker and hit record, and then I played the messages because like, I can't hear them, you know, clearly enough to make out what they're saying. the speaker is heavily spoiled. So hopefully when I put it on the computer it'll be a little bit louder and I'll be able to hear what they're saying. That'll be in a separate video. Now, on the back, we have what could be some kind of a problem. So we have a spot here. I had this on for about a half an hour yesterday as I was recording those messages, and this got to be about 150 degrees over the course of that time period. And it's been getting hot for a while because it's discolored the plastic. I don't think it should be doing that, especially not in one concentrated area like that. To me, that would lead me to believe that there's a component or something on there that's spoiling, or it's just not made correctly to begin with and is not up to specification for the application. Perhaps that letter H, or the H, could provide some insight. I know he has a number of these AT&T phones. Have you ever seen one that does that? Here's the informations. It's the 11 volts, and it doesn't, it does specify DC up at the top. And again, with the weird power, like 11 volts, what is that? Like 12 is pretty standard, but 11? Nah. This is the adapter. I don't know if it's the original one or not. It's the correct specification. It's the DC, the 11 volts, and the 500 milliamps. But it does not indicate that it's AT&T, and I would think that it should. But either way, it's the right specs and the plug fits, so we're using it. So, yeah. It's strange. This one is really, really strange. Somehow the antenna has not broken. That's a miracle in itself. It is the flexible kind. And it's just like, it's so clean compared to all the other phones that was in the box. You know, like that black one. I'll grab it real quick. This was the other phone that was in here, the 9120. Having a hard time getting this out of the base. Here it is, the 9120. You know, like this one, you can see how worn out it is. You know, heavily, heavily worn. Now, I suspect these probably came from similar eras because they're both 900s. And, I don't know. I don't think this one is all that much older than this other one is. Maybe slightly, but I don't think it's that much older. Anyways, that's that. So this one's a mystery. Maybe the messages will give some more insight as to where it was used. So, anyways, let's bring the antenna up so that it's the way it should be. And let's begin by calling it up. I did hear the bass ringer, but it was super, super quiet.
Hello, no one is here to take your call right now. Please leave your name, number, and message, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
It didn't sound like the law office to me. He's got to talk slower though, no one's going to understand what he's saying. And it was called screener, but it was so quiet, I don't think you'll be able to hear it on the camera. I'll play it for whatever it's worth.
Message and 43 all messages.
It didn't sound like the law office to me. He's got to talk slower though, no one's going to understand what he's saying.
Monday, 12:03 a.m. Message has been erased. End of messages. Remaining recording time is 3 minutes.
It appears to have the female voice, which I was not expecting. So maybe this isn't that old. Maybe this is older than that other phone is. I don't know how far back the female voice goes. I thought the female voice was a newer creation. Anyway, so that seemed to work. There's not a whole lot of... There's not... This is why dogs shouldn't just bark for no reason. There's not a whole lot of purpose in messing with the answering machine because you can't hear it. So we'll save that until after the repair. Now let's see here. Oh great, the handset is spoiled too. It's pretty much inaudible. All the buttons work beautifully. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. We'll record a testing message as we can do that. Does this have a speakerphone on there? I don't think so. I was going to put on the amplifier, but I couldn't get it on fast enough. Alright, I'll record this message and I'll get back on the video.
1 new message and 6 old messages. Message 1.
Record this message and I'll get back on the video. Okay, it's already been recording, but this will be the testing message from this AT&T 9050 cordless telephone. Looks like the testing machine is still recording, so this must be working to some extent. I'm going to exit the studio now, and I will traverse across the room to see how good the range is. I'm fairly certain this is only an analog or an AT&T model, so the coverage may or may not be that good. Okay, I'm all the way across the room now. I don't hear any static on the handset, but it could just be too quiet to hear. Okay, I don't know why the indicator light is so bright on the handset, but yet it's almost invisible on the base unit. Okay, I'm back into the studio now, and I'm going to hang it up now.
End of messages.
That seemed kind of quiet.
Was I just not speaking close enough with the microphone? So people keep telling me I'm speaking too close to the microphone, so I tried speaking further away, and it didn't work. It was too quiet.
Okay, so ultimately it's working fine. A little bit quiet, but maybe that's just how it is. Okay. And the range is seemingly pretty good. I didn't hear any static in that testing message either. So, it kind of works. It needs new speakers. We need a new speaker in the bass and in the handset. I'll try to capture the the incoming audio with the amplifier, because it's kind of there. Now let's see what we can do. Oh, okay.
Good evening. A bank is a bank is a bank. Until you walk into our bank, People's United Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Today is Sunday, March 28th. People's United Bank, time, 8:37. Current temperature.
That volume switch doesn't seem to be having any effect.
Afternoon thunderstorm, high 55. Partly cloudy.
Okay. So it definitely works. And if anything is to go bad, and the speakers are fairly easy to replace, so that should be an easy repair. And I forgot to show this as well. The heat on the bottom in the last, was it 10 or 15 minutes has been on? 138 degrees in that one spot, and the rest of it is, ambient, 70, 73 or so. So that to me doesn't seem right.